Hey guys, it's Green Zero here bringing you another Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath video commentary. We have a pretty cool series here for you today because of course there was a tournament last night and I thought I'd jump in and bring you the grand final series because it's on all the new maps, so you're probably going to see some new maps you haven't seen before unless you've come across them in Frontline recently. But we're going to have a best of 7 here today, and we have two players here today. Of course, it's going to be Technique, the greatest player in the history of the game, regardless of what everyone else says, and Kappa XD, which is Dimitery. Dimitri's in the grand final. Dimitery is in the grand final. You're not seeing this wrong. Dimitery is in the grand final. Dimitery beat Master Leaf in a best of 5? Oh my god, that explains the 600 Skype messages I got from Master Leaf this morning that I haven't read through yet. Oh my god, he's usually crying about something. He's lost. Oh my god, Dimitery beat Master Leaf. We're never going to hear the end of that. We are never going to hear the end of that. Oh my god, I really hope Technique wins now. But we're going to have to jump in and see how this series goes. It is the best of 7, so it will go for quite some time. So we're going to jump in now. We are on Sick City, which again is one of the new maps. Jumping up in the top left-hand side, playing as the Black Hand faction. It is going to be Technical. That's right, Technique himself. You do have a spike on the left-hand side there, your starting field, and then if we go across here, there is a blue field on an islanded area. It's somewhat of an island, it's more of a stream, 2 bridges. And if we move down here, we're going to see playing as Kappa XD, it's Dimitery. That's right, it's Dimitery here, going for his spike. The map, of course, is mirrored because it's a ranked map. Actually drafting out a rocket squad, no, a few rocket squads as well. Dimitery, not sure what he's planning to do with those. Of course, he got another spike over here, and we probably went past it as well on Technique's side. So you got a spike there. Both sides should be able to secure these. Again, they have actually selected their factions in this particular game, and they will probably select their factions in every single game because it is a grand final and there's no money on the line. But you know, these tournaments do have, you know, a little bit of it's mainly just bragging rights at the moment. These rocket squads, of course, technically actually shooting at the rocket squad which darted across there, and of course he's actually going to be able to focus down these garrisons now. Is it worth spending the money on the rocket squads? He spent extra $800 producing those, so we're going to have to see how that's actually going to go. Maybe he's going to go for a bike rush. There is a beacon happening over here like crazy. Dimitery already forgetting about his spike. We can see Techniques has already been captured. So just beaconing there, probably for the observers in this game. Master Leaf, of course, is watching this game. He is an observer, so... Oh man, the salt that's going to happen after this. This is not good because Dimitery is one of the... Oh, he's all-inning as well. As expected, we're going to see the Black Hand all-ins from these guys. Is Technique... No, Technique is not all-in. He is Flame Rush. He is Flame Rush right now, so he's going to go across the map, directly down the center now. This is interesting because he's going to be able to clear these garrisons. Dimitri's making a move, and this is not going to work out well for him. He's like, hang on a second, there's Flame Tank's coming, but he's going to be all-in bike, so this Flame Tank, its days are going to be numbered. It is going to kill all the infantry here, and the bike's coming down. Technique has a few bikes there as well. He tries to pull back to the buildings. He will actually escape with that Flame Tank. The Black Hand just shepherding them around. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be able to escape completely. There are a few bikes here. He's going to focus it down now. Will he get the kill? He doesn't get the kill. Oh my god, he still doesn't get the kill. It gets back and he loses several bikes in the process. Technique will lose a bike there as well. Oh my god, Dimitery. And he runs through the Black Hand squad as well. Another bike goes down. This is critical. Every unit counts when you do these types of all-ins. And again, against Technique, you got to remember that Dimitery probably will just all in because he can't hope to beat him in a regular game. And a lot of people say, oh, you know, it's actually sold a war factory off already, realizing this is not going to work. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, people like to all-in rush because it's easy. It is easy, but it's also easy to stop as well. It mainly relies on you getting the jump on your opponent. This Black Hand squad is still causing a lot of problems here, and will finish off that squad. Not going to go to jump into the garrison there. He will try to fire at that Raider Buggy. Almost gets the Raider Buggy. He will finally lose the squad. Now, the Flame Tank is still alive. It's been repaired back to full health. And Technique has a handful of bikes here. He has got his MCV still intact. If he puts down a second ref, he is going to be cheering right now. But will Dimitery allow that to happen? Not sure. He's actually got Regon for an MCV, so this is interesting here as well. He's on the same economy basically as Technique. He has a bit more bike buggy out. The Flame Tank is in a dangerous position, but the bike buggy is starting to leave. Or looks like the Flame Tank really wants to be on the other side, does use the ball technique, misses it, but the Flame Tank's on the wrong side here. Dimitery could snipe that down, but no, he's going to go for the units here. It's going to get very messy, and the Flame Tank is allowed to attack the War Factory here, not really being focused too much as well. And now he's going to switch there. Technique, that's not very good from Technique. He could have got the War Factory, but he splits his fire between 2 of these units. He will get a Harvester. But Dimitery loses, oh, they probably traded evenly and buy a buggy, but yeah, that was a bit disappointing by Technique. Look at the War Factory and the Ref. They're both at half health, which means he could have easily destroyed the War Factory had he focused fire there. I'm not sure what he was microing on. It's incredibly difficult to micro bike buggy in those engagements where you want to split your fire. It's pretty much they just shoot at whatever. Engineer trying to get the spike, not going to happen. Technique now falling back to base. Still retains his MCV at the expansion, and he doesn't even have a refinery queued here. Neither does Dimitery. He needs to recover a harvester ASAP. That ref is a little bit on fire, so I'm not sure if he's going to repair. That's probably not worth it. There is a rocket squad over here. That looks like it is from Technique, so they will be firing at that bike there. His MCV is under attack. I mean, why the hell not? He might as well shoot at. But here, this is bad. There's a lot of bikes here from Technique, and the buggy is actually drawing a lot of fire, but Technique now fixes that. A lot of overkill happening there. Another War Factory will come down from Technique, so actually not going for a second ref. He's going for another War Factory here. He will sell it, and wow, look at that. Dimitery just threw it in. I mean, maybe he thought there was more economy at home, but you know, Technique only had one refinery. And that's what I'm thinking about in this game series as well, because Technique obviously is a superior player, and I'm not bashing Dimitery. Dimitery, he's okay, but he's not pro, and he's not even remotely good. But and we do dish him a lot, but I have a feeling that he will probably just all in a majority of these games, because it's really the only way he can take a quick win. And I'm just going back to the all-in, it's easy to do, it's easy to get the jump on an opponent, but if the opponent sees it, it's easy to stop, and that's just the way the game rolls. I mean, if the game goes on for a long period of time, you'll find that Technique will just get further and further ahead. But that's game one. Technique will take it 1-0, best of 7, so he's going to take 3 more. Can Dimitery put up a fight? We'll have to wait and see. We're going to jump into game 2 coming up right now. Hey guys, welcome back to the grand final of the Game Replays 1v1 tournament here for April 30th. Is that the date? Yes, that was the date. It's May today. It is May Day. But we have we got here Tiberium Rift, which is basically just Twisted Rift. They just remade it, and it's actually larger as well, which is interesting. I don't know why they bothered remaking it. They could just use Twisted Rift. All the thing with the Predator is just overblown. They just use the map. It's out there. It's not as if you can get rid of it. But it's going to be a black hand mirror again, so we're going to jump in here as well. Starting on the right hand side, it is going to be Technical playing as black hand. And as you can see, it is basically Twisted Rift, but there's a bit more. Look at all the space back here. Why is all the space here? So I'm not sure why that's all there, but this map is a lot bigger, and there's a lot more distance between these fields and everything like that as well. So again, it's just gigantic, and they've carved out the. That doesn't look pre-made, does it? You can see the circle that he's made there, so that doesn't look really realistic. But nonetheless, if we jump over here, it's going to be Kappa XD, which of course is Dimitery. He's got his engineer over here as well. I'm not sure why he's beaconing that, so. Maybe he wants everyone to see that he's proud that he's able to train an engineer. He's going to move out as well. Just the 2 scouting squads from Dimitery. And wow, did he go refinery first? Technique went refinery first, because obviously he's probably going to build a raider buggy, and he doesn't care about that. How about that? But he's gone for the War Factory now, of course. Dimitery's as well. They're both going to drop these at basically the exact same time. Yeah, look at that on the radar. You can see it as well appear on Technique's side. So pretty much everything's the same. It just means that Dimitery does get his spike a little bit sooner. But, I mean, Technique does bring in the first load of Tiberium sooner. And, of course, mining or harvesting Tiberium is, of course, better than spike Tiberium, which is obviously very slow. But you know, it works out pretty similar. Both sides have a raider buggy. They're moving across now. He's actually going to clean up this scouting squad here, which Technique almost cleaned up with his own cabal. Not actually going to... Yeah, he turns around now. He did delay the scouting, or Dimitery has now delayed the scouting of his base by a few moments, but he is not actually rushing. Technique will not be able to confirm that. Technique is, of course, rushing. He does have 4 bikes coming out now. He's got 2 ref. These bikes will be heading across the map, but Dimitery is aware of it now. That raider buggy gave him the heads up, and he's actually firing at the raider buggy here, but he pulls back. He's trying to get some bikes out. He can always sell for the Cabal Draft, which are really good at holding off this bike harassment, just drawing fire. And of course, the Cabals will be able to destroy the bikes if they stand still for a little bit too long. He does have a shredder turret there. Not sure if he's just leaving that there as just a pre-draft here. Maybe to draw a bit of fire before selling it, because if the turrets take damage, you can still sell the hub and get the maximum amount of money for, as long as the hub isn't damaged, which is always nice. Technique moving around now. He's going to lose his Cabal squad. He's trying to run for the building. He's not going to make it. That raider buggy will pick it off. But Dimitery is somewhat trapped in his base. He has a few bikes. You see they're hidden back here. You can't really see them that well. If you have the health bars on, even with the health bars on, it's the same color as the Tiberium field, depending on what type of graphics you have selected on the game here. Of course, I always run with everything maxed out. I don't know why. Some people like it with low graphics. They think it's easier to see, but I don't really have a problem with it. Some people obviously don't have the eyesight for it, but yeah, we got Technique just containing Dimitery. Dimitery is now contained in his base. The second war factory will drop his on 5 harvesters. I think Technique might have the similar idea. We can probably expect similar builds. Structure is ready to drop. It is a refinery though, so that's interesting. So the longer that Technique can keep Dimitery contained, the better this is for him. He's going to take a swing at the MCV because, you know, why the hell not? It's here. You might as well damage it in time. He's going to either have to repair that or risk perhaps losing it, but it is the most heavily armored structure in the game, so it's going to take quite some time to destroy the MCV. These bikes now heading back to base. Alright, so he's obviously left the contain now. Dimitri's able to push the contain away, and with the second war factory, Dimitri will be able to produce a lot more units than Technique for a period of time. Even going for the blue Tiberium, which is actually smart. He's taking the blue Tiberium behind his push. He's just forming himself up here at the moment. What is Technique going to do about this? Got some scouts here as well. The flanks are pretty wide open for both these players, so they've got to be careful about that. Technique now does have a second war factory down, so he's able to match the production of Dimitri, but he does have a refinery on his expansion with 2 harvesters, not just 1, that's 2, and he's got 5 and 2 in the middle as well, so his economy is actually a lot better than what Dimitri's is now. Dimitri is going to be taking blue Tiberium, but he didn't really make a move when he had a little bit of an advantage there. Obviously, he's not aware that he had that advantage. He probably thought that Technique had two war factories as well, or perhaps just assumed that that might have been the case. The harvester at the blue tip will be going to the expansion, so that can either go back to the blue tip field again or just return to harvesting green tib. I usually like to just grab 1 Tiberium load. There's actually a lot of blue Tiberium there. Did that grow like unnaturally quickly, or is it just me? I'm not 100% sure. Technique is on the north side. I think Dimitri has caught on the fact that they are there. He's moving to intercept, and yeah, he's not going to be able to get the jump on Dimitri here at the moment. Dimitri just pulling his forces back. It's going to be the bike buggy show. There's battle marker down here. Dimitri does surprisingly actually have a second group of bikes. They have been spotted. Will Technique be able to respond to that? I think there's a few bikes heading over here. Yeah, well, he's actually pulling his whole army over. That's not necessary. For 3 bikes, I think Dimitri's going to be happy to have pulled so much units back to Technique's base. And then he's just going to leave now. He's just going to turn around and leave. I think he might actually get cut off here. No, he's become trapped. So these bikes are history. They just kamikaze straight into the group, because if you can actually get splash damage here. So Technique might splash his own bike. So that's actually I'm not sure if he did that intentionally or if he just happened to do that himself. So we have Dimitri now moving around. He does have a second war factory here. Sorry, not a second war factory, second refinery. Technique is also in the business of the harvesting Tiberium. And look at this. Dozer Blade's already a quarter of the way done. Dimitri does not. No, he just put his operation center down now. So he's into the double war factory Scorpion production, like Technique is. But his Dozer Blades has only just started here now. He actually hasn't started it just yet. You got to be careful. There's a lot of timings where you put the operation center down and you have low power. You can't start the upgrade unless you actually have power. There we go. So he only forgot about it momentarily, so he's not really going to lose too much time here. There is a flame takeout, so Dimitri obviously wants to do something about that. Will be decoy arming his bike buggy to make it look very, very menacing, and it's a big problem. Decoy army, you know, a lot of people don't, a lot of lower players don't understand that that's actually really, really good. We have a few Scorpion tanks moving in here. Dimitri has his Scorpion tanks into position, but Dozer Blades is done as an engagement up here as well. That flame tank gets sniped. These guys are getting scared away. We've got 2 engagements here. Dozer Blades is definitely going to hurt here for Dimitri. He is hurting away the bike buggy. He might win the bike buggy fight, but can he defend his field here? I can't even see what's going on. These guys are 2 similar colors here, so it's going to get very besty. The Fanatics are coming out as well, and that's going to be a problem. Technique can't hope to fight those. Bike buggy has broken up. Technique will fall back here. Those Fanatics are a big problem. They're called, I like to call them panic fanatics, and I've said that before as well, because you can bust them out, and they always seem to be so good in the Scorpion tank fights. It's like when you don't have as many Scorpion tanks, you can pump these guys out, and they will trade like there is no tomorrow. They're $700, so they're less than 1 tank, and I've seen a single squad blow up to 5 tanks at a time sometimes, because Scorpion tanks obviously do group up, and they will actually try to destroy that. Not getting, oh, that was only 1 member of the squad there that did that much damage to the the tank, but I'm not sure where is Dimitri's bike buggy. No, that's Technique's bike buggy. Dimitri's bike buggy is in the top here. He's falling back. He should be okay to defend his field as long as he spots this coming down here. Now there is a battle marker over here. Technique is all in. Is Technique all in? He's all in off of 3 war factories. He's 3 war factories right now. We got bikes coming down the bottom. Oh no, he needs to move his tanks back into position. Where is his bike buggy? His bike buggy is in the top. He's going to catch that, but Technique is going to come right into the field here. Oh, Dimitri had no scouts on the bottom side of the map, and he's starting to lose harvesters here. He's not actually responding. He doesn't seem to be aware that he's under attack because Technique is pushing through here. There's actually a lot of flame tanks. I'm not sure how many of those are fake as well, but his entire economy is being ravished here. There's no point even watching these bikes. They're completely uncontested. We'll keep an eye on this fight here. This is a massive fight right now. So look at this. Technique's got so many units in here. Obviously the decoy armies are being used as well. There's flame tanks fighting in the front line. The bike buggy at the back as well. Technique has a big ball here, and it's really hard to get rid of. But you've got to remember that Dimitri's lost all of his economy here right now. The tanks respond, but there's absolutely nothing left. The last harvester will actually fall, and Technique gets out with a handful of bikes. Battle markers everywhere. He's losing his main base, and Dimitri is thoroughly broken. He still has some forces here, but really, he's not going to be able to defeat what Technique has. Look at this. His whole economy is down. He couldn't handle that 2-pronged attack. That was brilliant, by the way, from Technique. That was amazing. He still has flame tanks in this force here right now, and he will take a 2-0 in this series. There's no way. Yeah, that's it. Dimitri's finished, and that is going to be the end of the game. So, positioning in Nod Mirrors, it does come down to a few things. It comes down to numbers. It's not always numbers. You can always have the less, but numbers is very important. And positioning as well. If you have that positioning and techniques, just like, yep, cool. That bike buggy drove all the way around the bottom of the map, straight into the field, and Dimitri had no idea it was there. He was so preoccupied with the top attack that he didn't realize he was being attacked. And he didn't have any scouts down there either. And I've told him that like a million times, that he doesn't have any scouts, and this happens a lot. But Technique that was brilliant. They danced around for a lot in that game, and then bam, Technique just went in and just absolutely took the game there. So that was a pretty good game, actually. That was a lot better than the first one, I reckon. So well done to Technique there, 83,000 to 63,000. You got 20 grand more. If we look at where most of that came in, I guess that's where the attack happened. So look how split they were at the point where Dimitri lost the game. Again, even with Blue Tib, he wasn't able to match Technique. Technique contained him for long enough to get his economy ahead. But yeah, it's a best of 7, so we'll jump into the next game coming up right now. Can Dimitri hold on, or will Technique just run away with the series? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, welcome back to game number 3 in this best of 7 series now, and it is the Black Hand show. Prepare for Inca Open style gameplay. Actually, we haven't really seen that too much the first game. I definitely like the second game, but this game here is on Tournament Galaxy, so I'm expecting the Bark Buggy to come out again. Let's jump into this map here. We have seen this before. It was in my 500th Kane's Wrath video. We saw quite a game on it as well, but moving on the right-hand side here of Tournament Galaxy, it is Technique playing as Black Hand. Obviously, I've already said that. Black Hand. And he's going to be drafting, going for the singular spike you have on this map. So it's got a single spike up here. I'm assuming Dimitri will be doing the same. Yes, he is. Going down for the bottom there as well. This is a Technique design map, so yeah, we can expect a lot of the bike buggy here and things like that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm expecting someone to probably rush on this map here. It's probably going to be a rush type map as well. Just because, I mean, and that's the thing. I've said this a lot about a lot of tech maps. They're really, really big, and they're really, really flat, and they're really, really open. And it just favors, like, all those 3 things favor Nod gameplay. It just favors Nod gameplay. I played on these maps as GBI, and obviously I've been limited in the tactics that I can use, just because you have to have fast attack. You have to have quick response. If you try to go for a slow moving army or anything like that, you're open up. You've got to have a really quick force here on these maps. And I do like some of the maps. I like playing on them and things like that, but I just think that some of them have a little bit too much dead space, and it just continually benefits the Nod factions here. But of course, these players both obviously playing Black Hand because it's their strongest faction. It's a grand final. You'd expect them to do that. Raider Buggy comes out by Dimitri, and he is getting bikes behind this as well this time. So he's obviously thinking that game 3 is going to go like game 2, and he may get jumped here. And keeping in mind that he hasn't got a second harvester yet, he is going to expand off the back of this refinery. So he's got a buggy, and he's got a few of these bikes as well, but he does lose his own Raider Buggy, and that can be important in these situations. He is going to get, no, Technique actually pulls back. There we go, because I was going to say, if you can see the enemy forces, you can split your fire perfectly, but Technique pulls back, and that wrecks that game plan. He will be moving back to base as well. He's a little bit ahead. Third harvester does come out. Dimitri's harvester or third harvester is a little bit behind here. He has got the MCV at the expansion though, not that the expansion is very far away. These guys are going to start dancing as well, so it's where they just kind of skirt across the edge of their vision, just trying to see what each player is actually going to be doing now. So Dimitery does have 4 bikes, so he's heading to the top side now. Technique has 4 bikes. How's the firing going to go? And look at that. Technique will take 2 bikes, but Dimitery only takes 1 bike. And oh my god, look at that. 4 bikes for 1. Technique's splitting on their fire. Look at that. Dimitery did a terrible job. He's got 3 bikes on red health, which means Dimitery did not micro that correctly at all. And Technique did it beautifully. So unfortunately, look at that. He's just going to repair those bikes. Not that this, bikes are a big deal, but at this stage of the game, that's a huge deal. Because you don't have a lot of forces at the start of the game. Later on in the game, that doesn't really matter, but at this point, it does matter, because now he's got 4, 5, 6, 7 bikes heading out to attack Dimitery. Dimitery is double War Factory. Is he going to sell his MCV? I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be able to do that. He's only got 4 harvesters, keep in mind. Technique is now approaching his base from the north side. Technique only has 3 harvesters, so wow. Dimitery actually has an extra harvester, and he's got an extra War Factory. Maybe not for much longer. Oh, he will take a swing at that, but no, he does pull back. His bikes are going to have to move back to the base here. Oh, that was a bit of overkill from Technique, but he does split his fire with the other bike, and he will start to take them out now, but he is losing a few of his bikes. Remember that Dimitery has reinforcements immediately available to him. That harvester, well, that's dangerous. I would pull that back to the War Factory as well. That's full of Tiberium. Dimitery is going to skirt around this. Fire is split there, and I think he got a little bit of luck as well. Not 100% sure what the micro went down, or how the micro went down there. Needs to get away from that structure. Will pay for it with another bike there. So these bikes are immediately going to go on the counter-offensive. And he's actually got 5 of them here now, so they're going to be moving through to Technique space. He will be drafting because he doesn't have any forces. He was trying to eco behind this. 5 and 2 at the main, 1 and 1 on the expansion. Dimitery does not have anything on the expansion. He sold his MTV. Did he sell his MTV? I think he sold his MTV. It's gone. It's gone. It's going to be all in from Dimitery here right now. And he's actually got Technique on the ropes. He's really pushing in here. He's going to be able to start targeting harvesters. Technique does not have any forces here. Oh my god, he's in so much trouble. He's in so much trouble. He's starting to lose harvesters here. A second harvester. Technique has no response. Whereas his units is just evaporated into nothing. 2 harvesters are down now as well, and Dimitery can smell blood. He's actually starting to take a lot of, he's actually doing a lot of damage. He will get a 3rd harvester, forces the sell of the refinery here. The other harvesters were pulled off the line. I think Technique should have done that a lot sooner. As soon as those bikes came in, he should have realized, holy crap, there's a lot of bikes there. I need to pull my harvesters, but he did not pull his harvesters. 3 harvesters dead. A refinery was forced to be sold, and that really hurts the economy of Technique. These 2 harvesters now having to get back to work here. He does have an expansion, but there's only 1 harvester on it. Dimitery, of course, is all in at this point in time. That harvester very heavily damaged. He's only on 4 harvesters. And you've got to remember, it's a ticking time bomb right here, because as soon as this Tiberium expires, I mean, he can long distance harvest. It's not too bad. And yes, I am keeping an eye on those bikes in the middle of the map. They're not really doing too much. Going to clear out this garrison, which is very nice as well. He's got to watch out. There is a Scorpion tank. Oh, he's got to be careful with these Scorpion tanks. They can be so easily sniped at this point in time. Scorpion tanks, yes, they are better than bikes, but in numbers like this, if you can just pick them off, like that's really good. You can snipe those from the edge there. Quite a number of Scorpion tanks are here. He's got to be careful. Did he sell his MCV? Yes, Technique has also sold his MCV. He's recovered a harvester. He's recovered 2, no, actually, he's only built 1 extra harvester, sorry, so there you go. And these bikes now trying to circumvent around these Scorpion tanks, and they are faster. They're stopping to attack the enemy bikes. They're losing a few numbers, but of course they're keeping Technique's numbers down as well. And no, they're not going to be able to get in. There's a little bit too much there. He doesn't like that. He's going to move away from the base. Only 4 bikes remaining. Technique will scare these guys off for the time being, but oh man, this is tense. Now, Technique does have a refinery on the expansion, so he does have longevity in his all-in right now, so these are really awkward all-ins. It's not your traditional all-ins that we saw like in Game 1. But Dimitery does have quite a few Scorpion tanks here as well. Again, did that harvest. That harvest still has not been repaired, so you can see how it's driving really slowly because it's in its heavy damage mode, so that equals just a slower refining harvester. Tech needs to be careful. He's got a few tanks over here, and he should be able to chase that one down, and he will get it, so 2 tanks for free. I don't think Dimitery took really any hull damage there. Yeah, most of his units are fine. He's got an engineer, but he does have a bunker as well, so that's going to be fine. Bikes are coming in from the top. They will score another harvester and get out of there just in time. That was beautiful timing. He cuts the corner a little bit, which costs him a few bikes, but he will take out a few of Technique's as well. Technique just reeling right now at that first attack, and oh my god, there's forces coming in here now. Is he going to be able to hold this? This could be the last battle in the game now, and Dimitery not quite committing. No, he's going to back off. He's actually going to back off. Okay, so he's got a lot of forces here. He does have a lot of... He could even up the series. Oh my god. He's splitting the bikes up into a different group. You can see they all completely split from the Scorpion tanks. He could send them in 2 different directions, and that would really hurt. That would really hurt Technique. He doesn't have the ability to fight 2 fronts right now. He needs Dimitery to commit to 1 front. and even then it's going to be a really hard hold. He does not quite have enough Scorpion tanks, I think, to hold what Dimitery has. Dimitery has quite a lot of units here. He's actually falling back to base. What's happening? There's actually some bikes moving around, so I think they've got him scared. This has pulled his whole army back. Look at how many bikes he has. He could have attacked Technique. Technique is actually moving out as well. Wow, the balls on this guy right now. Both these players seem to have completely overestimated each other, or Technique has underestimated Dimitery, and Dimitri's overestimated Technique, and he's actually pushing him back, and now Dimitery is actually being pushed back into the middle. He will stand here and fight. A few of the tanks do fall back here. It's going to be about positioning, and it looks like Technique is just going to be like, no, I'm just going to back off now. And these bikes can easily circumvent around. They do stop. They will start moving again. What's happening up here? No, that's that's actually garrisonable structure. Okay, there you go. I was going to say there's a Technique unit or Technique structure at the top there, but it's just in that garrisonable there, that watchtower. He's got his bikes up there, but Technique is aware of it. There's only one harvester on the main. There's 3 on the expansion though. And look at this, a few bikes come in. Will they be able to get that harvester? No, they will not be able to secure that harvester. Heavily damaged. He's got that other one there. It looks like that was the heavily damaged one before. Did get a few repairs, probably just by chance. Technique is over here. The bikes are moving around. Oh my god, Technique has another force of bikes. Sorry, Scorpion's over here. That harvester needs to be pulled right now. Oh, better control there. Dimitery probably could have jumped in and sniped that one, but now he's starting to fight Scorpion tanks. He will start picking some of these off, but the Scorpion tanks are all in range. This is not good. He needs to get out of range. He needs to get out of range right now. The Scorpion tanks will win in this type of endurance type fight. He has moved through the expansion now. He doesn't focus fire though. He could have focused on that harvester. He turns around and try to get it now, but he commits more bikes. He loses them. He doesn't get the harvest. That's good for Technique. That was a good engage for Technique. The bikes really didn't have the best orders in the world there. Again, they could have done a lot more damage, but Technique now just starting to steady a little bit. It will sell a war factory. Is he going for an MCV? This looks like an MCV. Look how slow it's building. We're actually going to check it out. I want to see if it is going to be an MCV. It is MCV. He doesn't have enough power. He needs the power micro, otherwise it's going to take forever to actually construct. Meanwhile, Kappa XD, aka Dimitery, is still continuing to produce combat units, although he did actually pump out a harvester just then. That harvester very heavily damaged. He is down to long range mining, so this is what we're talking about now. He's actually moving across to destroy the spike, and Technique has already lost his spike, as we can see from the top, and yeah, he's not going to be able to save that. That spike is now history. That's less economy for Dimitery, and again, the longevity of the game is now kicking in because Technique, of course, has a refinery on the expansion, and that means he doesn't have to long range refine. Actually pulling his harvesters back here because he knows that's good awareness. Geez, Technique is starting to get on point with those harvesters now being returned to the. He's actually got the MCV out, so he's going to be refining at this main or this expansion area. Dimitery is still choosing to long range mine here right now. He's still choosing to long range mine. I think, yeah, he's looking to construct an MCV, but he is definitely behind because of that. MCV about halfway done, but Techniques is already done. By the time that MCV comes out, he's going to have another refinery down. Actually, no, the refinery is almost done already. Wow, if he gets double ref on this field here, Techniques numbers will begin to skyrocket. He's got about a dozen tanks here as well. He's got another dozen tanks up here, so if he brought all his forces together, he could definitely attack Dimitery, but Dimitery has a few bikes still rolling around. These bikes are a threat. As long as his bike's rolling around, he's going to have to keep at least some of his Scorpion tanks at home, which will weaken any potential attack that Technique might be thinking of. But now Dimitery also just choosing to remain at home. I mean, this is the thing here. Dimitery knows that Technique, he really does know that Technique doesn't have any bikes. He knows that Technique really doesn't have any bikes, but he is keeping his tanks at home. He really should try to go out and catch Technique out of position. If he put all of his tank forces up here, Technique would have to bring all of his tank forces to fight that, and then that would leave the expansion open, perhaps for some bikes to come in. And you can see he's still rolling around a few bikes. He's trying to go for dozer blades, takes a swing at the operations center. Doesn't have the most armor in the world, but it's still, you know, you got to focus it for a little bit just before you can get it, and they can always laser field it. That garrisonable structure also taken by Technique. This is a great position for this garrisonable, by the way, because you can see like all the way out to here. It gives you precious seconds before they come into the expansion, and Technique's probably just going to crawl his way there. As you can see, he's actually put this ref down and the operations center down, so he can put another ref over here. And oh my god, he's done it as well. Wow, look at that, predictor 0. So he's actually done that, keeping an eye on the radar as well. Dimitery not quite as active with his bikes anymore, but he is actually going to find a gap, but there's no harvesters on this field here. There are no harvesters on this field. He's going to be moving down around. He will find this harvester, which will send back to the main. Can he snipe it down really quickly? It's getting repairs. There's Scorpion tanks responding. He doesn't want to lose any bikes here at the moment. He could have targeted that damaged harvester and got it. Was at half health, but no, he's splitting his fire all over the place. He splits between 3 more. Hey, look at that. Nah, this is not good at all. I'm definitely going to criticize there there. His target firing was absolutely horrendous there. He's shot at about 7 or 8 different harvesters in that one run by, not able to destroy a single one, and Technique's going to be like, yep, cool, that's fine. These bikes even going to get chewed up on the way out. Won't quite lose that one. Will he lose that one? No, he won't lose that one either. They're going to evac. Being very passive with his tank army, again, I don't like that. I think he should be a bit more active. He has, of course, recovered a refinery, and he's going for his own dozer blades. It's about a third of the way done. Technique's dozer blades have been completed, though, and now that he's got dozer blades, he's going to make a push. So it's chilled out just a little bit in the last minute or two, but I think it's going to start to heat back up again. This is going to be a really tight game, I think. Even though Technique does have the better economy, Dimitery still has an extremely large amount of tanks here. He's got a lot of tanks. Look at them all. He's got a ton of tanks here. And, of course, the defender will always have an advantage in terms of positioning and reinforcements and repairs. So those are the 3 things you need to think about when you attack. You always have to have more when you attack. We're talking about armor fights as well. We're not talking about, like, fast attack, hit and run. If you're looking at armor, you need more if you're the attacker, basically. You're not really going to win if you have less when we're talking about, like, in a situation like this. But Dimitery does have his refineries placed very close together right now. That could be dangerous, but you know what? I don't think Technique's going to be interested in teching these bikes. Very dangerous there. They will cut the corner and they'll get sandwiched there, and he should be able to get them all. He will get them all. That was silly to drive down there, I think, because he was backed up against this ridge area here, and Technique was able to just close the noose there. That was a good positioning there from Technique. But yeah, like I said, I don't think Technique's going to be interested in going for any kind of technology. Has got a second ref on the third base now, and he's just got war factories, and he's just pumping out the Scorpion tanks here. So they're going to be pouring out these. He's got 3 war factories. He's just pouring these down. His numbers now with 3 war factories, you will skyrocket. You will, and he's, look at this. Dimitery's actually building fanatics here because he knows he kind of needs fanatics here. But of course, Black Hand fanatics don't get any upgrades. So they're not going to be particularly fast. Scorpion tanks can outrun them. And Dimitery just falling back. He does have his dozer blades. Having these fanatics up the front actually going to be really, really smart. He's actually got quite a lot of squads now. They can absolutely rip through a whole line of tanks. There is a flame tank here. Technique, and this is Technique as well, uses flame tanks as an offensive unit here with the tank force here. But I think, yeah, just going forward, Dimitery's like, yep, cool, you came too far forward. And now he's just going to poke that one away. So Technique needs to be careful. The flame tanks are not as fast as these Scorpion tanks. So they won't have the speed advantage, and he got a little bit too far forward there. Technique now just going to move his forces back to his area here. Now he's got quite a lot, and he's actually going for an upgrade here. I think it's just going to be Charged Particle, because pretty much every Black Hand player will get that regardless, because it's such a good upgrade, and it always comes in handy at some point in time. But I don't think he's going to go for a Tib Chem Plant, because he just wants units. And let's face it, a Tib Vein on the army is just not going to happen, because there's not going to be any tank fights over Tiberium fields at the moment. It just won't happen. There's no way either of these players will want to do that. Fanatics, oh geez, actually being used up on Raider Buggies, which is not the best option, but he didn't actually expend very many to get those, so that's fine. He's going to be pulling back here now. Of course, Technique doesn't really want to build Raider Buggies right now. He wants to build more tanks, because Raider Buggies are 100% useless in a Scorpion tank fight, except for drawing fire. But if the other guy has a crap ton more, we're going to see a huge battle. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see a huge battle take place at some point in this game here. Again, both sides have just been trying to maneuver for positioning here. Again, I think Technique does have more tanks. It's really hard to see. Actually, Dimitery's army quite large. Battle marker up here. A few of Technique tanks move through this area. 6 tanks not choosing to focus fire. They're actually moving through. I'm not sure if Technique is paying attention to that at all. I'm not sure if he did actually click. He clicked him, so he did go for some clicks there. So that's interesting. These Scorpion tanks, though, moving through this base head area. I'm not sure. Are they decoys, perhaps? Is that why they're not doing anything? I'm not 100% sure. Battle marker over here is infantry standing on Tiberium. Decoy army comes in, but that was just used to scout. I don't think that was a good idea. He should have used it for an engagement. What is going on here? There is a construction yard. Oh, he's actually got multi-MCV. Are you for real? These Scorpion tanks are actually, do appear to be real, because they're actually attacking units over here. He's got multiple MCVs, and he's pushing with Obelisk here. Oh my god, Technique is he's actually moving his own MCV forward. He can obviously build his own Obelisk, not at the same rate as what Dimitery can, though. So that's something important. Of course, he's going to put this down here, I think, for the Charged Particle. So he can actually destroy these fanatics. Puts down another obelisk, then he's going to move the MCV again. Is he going to be able to recover? Yes, he's already recovered. He's got some Tiberium in the silos as well, so we can see that it's at level 2. So he does actually have money in the tank for this Dimitery, but I think so does Technique. Yeah. Oh, actually no, his are pretty empty, but he's got a lot of forces here. He puts down the obelisk here, and we've got Spectre artillery. He's trying to use Spectres here. There is a beacon coming in, and it's actually shielding out his obelisk with power plants, which is really good as well. That vapor bomb is going to miss. It is going to do a fair bit of damage though. Does the MCV? The MCV weathers out pretty heavily, but Dimitery is actually out of position here. His tanks are up the top. The MCV a little bit exposed, but it does have a fence on it, so good luck trying to kill that quickly. That's not going to happen. Doesn't want to commit here, and we're not going to see a bit of a anti-engagement there. It looked like everyone was going to rush in, and then all of a sudden, no, it just didn't happen. Low on power there for momentarily, but he will power that back up. Targeting the Spectre artillery, which is important because obviously these Spectres, if they're allowed to persist, they of course, if they get number, then Technique will be under a lot of pressure. There's going to be another engage here as well. Technique is just moving forward. He's moving forward there. He is going to commit to this one as well, and there's Obelisk right in the thick of things, and again, they're not behind structures now. He's trying to shield them out with the power plants, but those ones weren't very well shielded here, and there we go, putting down the barracks as well to try to shield them out. That just gives the Obelisk extra protection there, because he has to destroy the structure before he can destroy the Obelisk. And to be honest, a lot of those Obelisks don't actually get a lot of shots off. They can essentially one-shot kill a Scorpion, but they're $2,000. That was a money shot with those Spectre artillery. They are essentially $2,000, so they need to kill like 3 tanks before they actually make their money's worth. But again, they do draw a lot of fire. These Spectre artillery now, Technique just moves through, and Dimitri's army is caught on the top side, so that's not good. He loses all of his Spectre artillery there, and now he will be moving back around the bottom. But Technique's forces actually thin quite a bit. These Obelisks actually appear to be having a little bit of an impact here now, and he doesn't quite have the DPS to actually focus them down quick enough. There's 3 Obelisks there, but one of them is quite far back. And now Technique here, his forces just seem a little bit depleted. Wow, did he actually get... Is he in trouble? And look at Technique's main field. I just noticed his main field is like fully grown just about, and he needs to harvest that. Spectre artillery are still appearing here for Dimitery. The Obelisk are here. He's trying to move these units around. He tries to focus the MCV. It's got too much health on it. There is too much health on it for him. And look at the destruction raining down here. He's got his tanks down here, but Dimitery has a lot of forces. He's even putting a war factory down. Look at that shredder placement in the middle of the war factory. How does that even happen? Technique has a shredder turret hub placed in the middle of that war factory here now. And these tanks are going to be moving through it. And I think Dimitery has a little bit too much. And that is going to be the end of the game. So... Obviously, Dimitery wasn't the one to upload this replay, so that's why it didn't come up with the defeated screen or anything like that, or victory screen, but nonetheless, a 20-minute game there, so Dimitery actually pulls one back, and that game was very back and forth. It was very back and forth. Both sides had the advantages at certain points in the game, but then when things really chilled out, it looks like Dimitery just actually got ahead somehow, which is quite surprising in a lengthy game that he was able to do that. So that's probably the best game in the series so far. If we have a look at the money, 156,000, 150,000. So Dimitery did get about 6 grand more, but you've got to remember that Technique did not harvest his entire main field. That thing was so grown, so Technique, it could have been a different story if he was able to properly refine that a bit later on. But it is going to be 2 games to 1 in favor of Technique. Can Dimitery level the series and put some pressure on Technique, or will he be in trouble? We'll have to find out. Next game is coming up right now. Okay guys, welcome back to game number 4 in this best of 7 series. Technique has the lead 2-1, but of course Dimitery did just take the last game, so he is on the board in terms of points. Black Hand Mirror Time on Tournament Odyssey, which is a gigantic freaking map. Another huge, massive, flat map. It's just huge. And look at that. I just looking at the terrain, and it's something that I like about Predator maps is that they look realistic, whereas this does not look realistic. This looks like you spent about 10 minutes in the world builder, and that's very critical. I'm very critical, I know, of this here. But when you've been spoiled with Predator maps for so long, again, it's just like, well, look at this. It's just all nothing, like all the same colored terrain, nothing like that, nothing fancy. But starting, I'll stop now. I promise I'll stop. Starting in the top right hand side here, playing as the green Black Hand. It is Technique here. He doesn't want to let Dimitery level this series, of course, and Dimitery playing as the yellow Black Hand in the bottom side. You've got 2 spikes, of course. You got this one over here. You should have seen this one from a Frontline episode a few episodes ago where I play. Oh, I can't actually tell you who I played because they'll get banned. But we've got the engineer now running for this spike. This spike's a little bit open, but to be honest, you should be fine. Looks like oh, actually Technique's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. It's going to be tight. The Cabals are about the same speed as the Engineer. Or if he might have to run behind the Spike to capture that. And I don't think he's going to make it. No, he's beelining it for it. He's not going to go behind the Spike. Oh my God. This is going to be tight. This is going to be tight. He loses it. Oh man, he should have run behind the Spike. Maybe he didn't see it. I'm not 100% sure. But he does get the snipe off, and Dimitery trying to do the same, but the wrong Spike. That Spike is a lot closer to your base than the far one here, which for Technique will be in the top left side. So Dimitery losing an Engineer straight away, which is never good. It's not game ending. A lot of people, and I've said this before, a lot of people say, oh, I lost an Engineer, I just have to quit. No, it's $500 and you do lose a bit of economy from the Spike, but it's not an instant loss. Like it's bad, but it's not game ending or anything like that. You have a slight disadvantage, which is very easily to make up in any engagement. So he's actually going to send some Bite Buggy out. I don't think Technique he's actually got 4 Harvests. He's got no combat units here. Is he aware that that he's over here? This better be a bike. It's going to be a Raider Buggy. He's building bikes now. He realizes that Dimitery just kind of fluffed around a bit outside the base. And I think he's going to go for it. He splits his fire here. He's actually building another buggy. Is he going to go for a Harvester? He is going to go for a Harvester now. Again, there's no bikes here from Technique. Second War Factory will come down now. And the target firing is not too good by Dimitery. Does not destroy a single unit there. Forces the pull off the line momentarily, but that's not going to be anything critical. Battle markers over here. There is a Cabal squad inside Dimitery's base. He is 1 Harvester down and a War Factory down because, of course, he built those combat units earlier. And now Technique can take advantage of the fact that he went for Eco. And he's going to sell his MCV. He's going to go all in. He's got... Oh, no. Dimitery's thrown it. He has got... I was going to say, my mouse just disappeared. I'm like, whoa, Dimitery gave up already. So Dimitery is the kind of player who probably won't fight it. But, oh man, so that puts him on match point. That was a super quick game. 3 minutes there. So that was obviously not what we were expecting. But, yeah, Technique, I mean, it counts. So 3-1 in favour of Technique. He just needs one more game to win the series here and to win the grand final. This is going to be a mighty challenge for Dimitery to win 3 in a row. I don't think it's going to happen, but we're going to jump into game number 5 and see how it goes. Okay, guys, welcome back to game number 5 in the series. It is 3-1 in favour of Technical, and we're on Het Platland, if that's how you say it properly. But every one of these maps, except for Six City, is gigantic, enormous. And it's going to be Bike Buggy all the way. Are we going to see some all-inning on this map? I don't think this map is as good for all-inning just because it's divided into sections. You've got this tiny itty-bitty choke and then you have to go around here. So it can be tough to attack the opponent, especially since the main field is defended by obviously this water area here and this choke. It's hard to get into the enemy starting field as well. Not so much the expansion fields, but the starting field. So Technique is going to be on the left-hand side here of Het Platland, and Dimitery is going to be starting on the right hand side. Sounds like a brand or model of a parking meter, doesn't it? Dimitery. But we've got going for their spikes. Obviously the spike here is actually damaged, and there's some explosive barrels here which can make it particularly easy to kill, because of course that'll further damage the spike. It won't destroy, you still have to actually shoot at it a little bit here. And of course you've got the spike on the top right hand side, and you've got the island with the Viceroids on it and a dude running around. I've never actually noticed that before. And is that on the other side? Yes, it is on the other side as well. So you can actually select that as well. But you never expect it obviously to go there. That's just for filler. Part of the map that is pretty much dead. Nothing much happens in the top side of the map here, I find, because all the Tiberium's down here. Up here, there's no real reason to drive around. I mean, it's mainly for stealth tanks, flame tanks, and just kind of flanking units that don't even go across there. There's actually an EMP spike. Didn't even notice that. Is something happening? No, there is something happening here. Scouts facing off. Do we have an all-in? No, we got Harvests coming out by Technique, and but Dimitery is actually going for some Bite Buggy here. He is going for some Bite Buggy. Can he make it count? He needs to do... He needs this game to start off well for him. If this game doesn't start off well for him, he could be in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to go for one more bike before he heads out. And not even scouting with the Raider Buggy. He's going to keep the Raider Buggy with his forces. Now, if he circumvents this garrison, which is easy to do, he can go up here and around. Is that his scout? Yes, that is his scout as well. No, is that Cyan? Yes, so that belongs to Dimitery. No, that's Technique. Oh my god, it looks Cyan, doesn't it? Technique, is he going to be able to see this coming? We'll actually go to his vision because I really want to see. He doesn't see it yet. Oh my god, he sees it. He sees it there. He sees it there. But if he snuck through that tiny gap, which of course is impossible for Dimitery to know that, he would have got through scot-free. But Technique has a few precious seconds, and yeah, he's going to start producing. No, he built a harvester. Maybe he didn't see it, and he's going to pack up. He didn't actually see it. He's going to lose a harvester. Dimitery needs for the focus fire to be on point this time. Technique does not pull the harvester this time, and that's full of Tiberium, and he pops it. He gets one. He's going to go for a second one. No, he shot at the refinery, which is a bad idea, so good start. I think he needs to get out of there now. I think he needs to get out. He got his harvest kill. He pulled 2 off the line. Technique is just scrambling a little bit. He didn't really lose too much. That's fine. That's okay. That's not too bad. So Dimitery does do the damage he needs to do here. So he reduced the harvester count by 1. And he's got 4 and 2, and he's actually in the same foothold, but of course he has a few more units, and he's at the expansion already. Technique not choosing the seller's construction yard just yet. So we got forces moving around. It's going to be really hard to see them on the radar, because the radar, of course, green and cyan don't show up on a map like this very easily. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye out for those battle markers here. Battle markers raging over here. The spike does take a bit of damage there with the destruction of those barrels. So he's actually putting the repair tool down on it as well, so he doesn't want to lose it. And Dimitery now just waiting in for Technique's forces to run through here, and he will grab a quick bike kill there. He loses one of his own bikes now, but he's going to push back Technique, so he's going to hold his own. He was waiting in this area like he knew that was actually going to come through to this location, so that was good foresight there. A few forces from Technique moving around here now. He still hasn't sold his construction yard. He's just moved it very far to the left. He obviously doesn't want to all in. He wants to get a refinery now. He has nothing queued. Dimitery, on the other hand, also has nothing queued. Just choosing to go for more units. He will clean up the Gabals, which is always nice to do that, to keep your enemy in the dark. He will clean those up, and he will actually focus down this garrison as well. And that will allow him to completely block all the vision of Technique. So what he's doing now, he's just going through and he's cleaning up all the vision, and that will open up these scouting paths here for him to counter-attack later on. Technique not trying to contest the loss of these garrisons. He's out of position, obviously, so he's not going to want to go into that. And he doesn't actually kill the Cabal squad, which could easily move to the next structure. But he is going to continue on here, and he's going to find Technique's forces, I'd imagine, very soon. Yeah, there are a few forces over here. I don't think there's any forces anywhere else on the map. There is going to be engagement here. He does target the barrels, and he will take a swing at the spike. Technique not putting the repair tool down on that spike just yet. He could easily go in and take that out with another swing, but Technique is just lingering over here, saying, alright, cool, use a volley on it, and then I'll go in. But he's not going to use a volley on it there. I think he really could try to snipe that down, and then getting rid of a spike is very nice here. Of course, Technique's other spike is still intact, and that scouting squad is still there. He's going to try to take the garrison. No, these forces are going to move through here now. He will take a swing at it, but it has recovered some of its health, so he's going to have to take a second volley at it, which he will do so. He does manage to snare it, just manages to drop that one. Technique not able to pressure enough to defend that. So Dimitery now, having contained, he's contained Technique, but Technique has 2 refined. Look at all the harvesters, 3, 4, 5 harvesters, 2 ref. He is transitioning some of his harvesters, a bit too many. You can probably leave another one there. There's still quite a bit of Tiberium. But Dimitry's at the contain. He's got his expansion down. Only 3 harvesters on the expansion, but he's got plenty of harvesters over here that he can easily transition. So the economy is actually very similar, even with a garrison up here as well to spot this. He splits off a few bikes, just a handful of bikes. I'm not sure if he plans to destroy the spike or whether he wants to actually counter-attack. His main forces now are moving through the map, actually retreating back to his main field. He's going to have to transition these guys as well, move them around. A few of these bikes are over here, but Technique is like, yep, cool, I'm going to pick these off easily. He's not going to lose a harvester there. It takes a little bit of damage, and unfortunately, I think Dimitery shouldn't have gone in with those bikes. He should have waited. Technique actually thinks there's more bikes moving to the top there. He should have put his bike buggy army down here, pressured Technique, and then gone in. But he went in with the harassment while nothing else was happening, and Technique was able to easily respond to that. The Dozer Blades, of course, halfway done for Technique, so the Scorp tank transition is going to happen here. Is it going to happen for Dimitery as well? He's actually only just moving his harvesters now, so taking a little while. The Scorp tanks are now coming out, but he has them in very low number. His Dozer Blades is a bit closer to Technique's now, so as you can see, that Technique's 3/4 of the way done. Dimitery's is about almost halfway, so he's going to be pretty close on that. A few bikes moving through here. Dimitery should be able to clean those up relatively easily. There actually are decoys here, so they will all be destroyed very quickly without having to actually pay for that with actual units. So he knows that Dimitery has expanded, but Technique has also expanded. A refinery is halfway done as well, so his 3rd base is going to be up and running. And you got to remember, this is a map where it has 4 green fields, so you actually have, unlike more traditional maps where you've only got 3 bases, you can actually have 4 bases. But this field is very difficult to take because you have to move either on this rocky area where you can't actually deploy, which is very dangerous. You have to go around and through, and then you have to move all the way over here because this is still rocky as well. You can't deploy, you got to go over here, or you got to go around, forwards and around. It's very difficult to get to these fields, I found, on this level here, so you really got to do it in advance. Technique just transitioning more of his harvesters a little bit too soon. So look at this, he doesn't even clean up his fields before he's moved his harvesters. I think he needs to actually change a few of the things he's doing there. A few flame tanks coming out by Dimitery, hoping to get a few of these flame tanks into the enemy base here. That would of course be very, very good for him. And the bike buggy army is down here, but he does spot it, and he's going to plug that hole as well. He's got his own bike buggy army down here. That bike just suiciding in there. Not sure what he was doing. These flame tanks really though, I'd split one up the top and down the bottom. Just see how they go, because yeah, going with the main army is probably not going to be very beneficial. If you go with the main army, you really got to have a force that can push all the way up to the enemy buildings before they can actually do anything. So it's best to get them around, because the flame tank can catch the enemy out of position, snipe a few very important buildings. They're actually both traveling together, so again, if they get discovered, they're both pretty much history, whereas if you split them up, it's a greater chance of one of them actually penetrating Technique's defenses here. The Scorp Tank army is moving about. We have the Bike Buggy army moving about. He does use the decoy army, and it's in front, so they take the majority of the fire. But look at this. Dimitery's army is here, and he will waste his first volley on the decoys, but Technique just rolls straight into this field area here now. And now Dimitery uses his own decoy army, and that did not work. That was not a good engagement there for Technique. He definitely lost that one. But again, both these flame tanks together, one of them's actually ended up on the other side of this structure, so that might actually save his life, except he's actually reverse moving into the enemy forces here. So those flame tanks, unfortunately, are somewhat wasted. I mean, it's not how you really use flame tanks here. He is drawing this army out of position. I mean, oh, he actually doesn't destroy it as well. No, he's going to have to go forward and destroy it. Dimitery could have used this time to really pressure his Technique's base. We'll actually destroy more of his Black Buggy. We can see debris flying all the way over there. Another war factory is down, just refining this Tiberium like there's no tomorrow. Dimitery also has his Tiberium going here. This could be a pretty close fight. We're going to see another huge engagement. These guys are spamming their armies up to critical mass, but of course Dimitery has a lot of Black Buggy remaining, and Technique does not have a lot of Black Buggy. He's moving the MCV. He's at his second one. No, it's his first one. Again, very dangerous maneuverability over here. He will move his Scorpion Tank army, so his Scorpion Tank army has to move to cover the advance of the MCV into this very dangerous location. But of course, Dimitery not really taking advantage of the fact that these bases are really wide open, and actually putting an obelisk down. And what's this? He's actually going for clicks, so he's going for clicks here. He wants to click Technique here. He's not going to get a Tib Vein on the army. That's incredibly rare or unlikely to actually occur. But he should be able to click down the enemy forces. He's going for a secondary upgrade as well. Is that Tiberium Core Missile he's going for? It could very well be Tiberium Core Missile, because he does have a lot of bikes left, and that could be very deadly. He could really ravish Technique's economy. Technique has so many tanks here, though. He's got a lot of tanks. Dimitri's got to be careful. He's actually going for a Redeemer. First time in the series, Game 5, we're going to see an epic unit come out. So, again, in these Black Hand Mirrors, it's usually so aggressive, so fast-paced, and so frantic that you do not see those units come out. He still hasn't used his click, though. He really thought he would have used it on this field over here. The flame tanks are coming out by Technique, so he's sending out his own flame tanks as well. And Dimitery now just moving back over this area. Alright, and we're back. Just had to take a quick break there, but Tib Core is actually done for Dimitery here now. So as you can see, he's actually able to overwhelm this small force down here in the top side of the map. The Scorpion Tank army is moving to the choke. Is Dimitery there? Dimitery is there. Oh my god, he's got Spectre Artillery. Oh, this could be devastating. This could be devastating. The Spectre Artillery does somewhat hit, and yeah, Technique realizes that is actually a terrible idea. Driving through a choke point with artillery raining down on him with tanks and obelisk at the other end. That positioning there is brutal, and Technique is not going to be able to do anything about that. Again, keeping a lot of... Wow, he's got a lot of flame tanks, doesn't he, with this force here. Battle markers over here. The Bike Buggy with their Tib Core is able to thin the numbers of Scorpion tanks. There's not enough Scorpion tanks here. He's having to pull more of his tanks up, but of course Technique does have an expansion down here, and he's refining a lot of Tiberium. I think Dimitery's trying to move through this area. Very dangerous. The MCV is somewhat stuck. These Bike Buggy now trapped in the top corner. He's not really paying attention to that. There is going to be an engagement over here. Does he have enough? The Spectre Artillery are going to start firing, but they're in a very dangerous position here. Does he have enough to overwhelm this? The Spectre shots somewhat whiff. They don't really cause enough damage. The MCV is now under attack. He's going to try to destroy that while it's in its pack-up mode. Very dangerous. Can he get the deploy down? A lot of units going down. Oh my god, look at the destruction that was raining down there. That was insane. All the dead tanks and a Tib Vapor Bomb. He is losing some of his Spectre artillery, but you know what? I don't think it matters. He did so much damage over here. There's a battle marker over here. The bike buggy is actually getting cleaned up now, and the Spectre artillery there as well actually making the difference. Something is happening. What is happening? He's pulling his forces back. Why is he pulling his forces back? Dimitery fell back there. I'm not sure why. He needs to take this base. He's got the bikes. The bikes actually are now finally getting cleaned up. Technique's half of his forces are out of position. If his whole army was together, he could have won this fight, but of course he had to do something about it. Actually moving across the field. Wow, this is dangerous. So, and his whole army is over here. I'm not sure why it's over here. It's not in position. He's got Spectre artillery. He obviously wants to push the bottom south base, which Technique now has 2 ref on. But Technique is moving his army. He's getting into position, and Dimitery is not in position. He's not in position. This MCV is already badly damaged. He needs to be so careful. I'm not sure. He does have multiple MCVs. He does have the Tib Chem plant as well. He puts a fence on it, but he's in a lot of trouble. Dimitery now filing through a choke point. Look at the Comcay. That's insane. Technique is just destroying all these tanks, which are just filing neatly. That was absolutely disastrous for Technique. Sorry, for Dimitery. That was Spectre artillery. Oh, the Rage Gen. The Rage Gen. Oh my God, the Rage Gen is real. He can't actually give his units a move order while they're under Rage Gen. And another one pops those forces as well. He doesn't lose the MCV. He does have all this. Wow, Dimitery is actually standing his ground here. Is this actually happening? Now, you got to remember, Technique does not have a Redeemer, and his Redeemer, Dimitery's Redeemer is very heavily, or actually has a lot of health left. There is going to be a pretty big engage here as well. This is going to be a pretty intense. He's pushing through. The Spectre artillery not very effective in this situation here. The shots, though, look at all the tanks alive. He's going to lose all of his Spectre artillery, and there are a lot of tanks here. Technique is somehow overwhelming. The decoy is actually drawing a few shots here. He's trying to get the Redeemer down to his base where the Obelisk are, but there's so many tanks here. How does Technique done that? How did he do that? It's so many tanks. Dimitery, of course, the absolute worst positioning in the world. The absolute worst positioning that Technique needed was there. And now this base is under attack. He needs to put 2 Oblers right behind his MCV, and he will pop them down there now. A few harvests being destroyed, but as soon as the MCV falls, it will go down. He tib veins these forces here. It's not going to be enough. Barely any tanks even went down there. He only shaved those forces off. And he's going to lose these 2 Obelisks. He's going to overrun them. And what's Dimitery going to do? He has no forces remaining. He still has bases, but I mean, Technique is mining happily on his 4th expansion right now. You can see he's actually almost cleaned it up, but he's got a lot of Tiberium back here and back here as well. Dimitery has kept these fields, all of them relatively dry, so he's done a good job of that. But what's he going to do? He has no forces left. He sells the Tib Chem plant. He has nothing left. He has no combat units on the field. There's almost nothing. He sells the tech center. He's going to go into infantry. He's got all these black hand from these sold off tech buildings, and here come the Fanatics. The Fanatics are out, and they will cause a bit of damage here. Oh, a lot of damage there, just running into these areas. He's just going to shoot down the barracks or the hands of nods before they can build these, and he will go in. He's going to try to use shredder turrets there, actually just completely denying the man spam here as well, because these hand of nods have such little health. And even if Dimitery can hold this one particular attack, Technique is still mining very heavily. And that Fanatic squad comes out. Oh, money shot there. A lot of tanks going down. So he's obviously getting value for money here. But again, with the Hand of Nod with such little health, is being focused down. And oh man, I really thought Dimitery could have had that game, but absolutely spectacularly disastrous positioning. And I don't know why he put himself in that position, because even after he was in that absolutely godlike horrible position, he still got the Rage Gen off and he still popped a ton of tanks. But oh my god, like you couldn't engage, and you can't say Dimitery didn't have time. He had plenty of time to reposition his forces at multiple times in that game, and he didn't do it. And of course, that is going to cost him the series. And I'm very critical, which I'm going to be, so. But Technique will win the series 4-1, but a few of those games are actually really fun to watch, especially that game, and the one on Galaxy was really, really, really good. But as you can see, 180 or 179,000, almost 180,000 Technique, 149,000 to Dimitery, so 30 grand more to Technique in a 15 or 16 minute game. That's noticeable. 30 grand extra. He's going to be loving that. Going to be loving life. And of course, Technique never really teching in this series except for that Galaxy map. But again, his tech never really helped him. But yeah, Dimitery could have pulled one back then, but not to be. So Technique will take the series. But I really hope you enjoyed this this cast. It was a pretty nice series considering it was just endless black hand mirror, and there was some nice maps in it as well. But anyway, stay tuned to my channel. I'm Green Zero, and I'll catch you all in the next video.